Hello everybody, welcome to Tpull's Corner. We've got a new deck today. Ooh, we get to go first. Is that because we've done nothing but lose? This is mono green. I don't do mono green decks a lot. This one's a little bit different from the standard deck. A lot of green is based around putting up big creatures and getting some ramps so they could put out the big creatures fast. This one's called Living Off the Land. It's got a land enchantments. Hello. Put out our beast caller next. And so the general idea is we're going to use our land as attackers. We're going to enchant our lands. I guess we'll just put out Cami next. Our beast caller gets pumped up every time we put out a creature. And our opponent is Fenster with a blue-white deck so far. With Urza Lord Protector. So we've got to be careful of a Planeswalker, which is distinctly overpowered. Which means the Might Stone and the Weak Stone is not far behind. In the meantime, we've got 24 lands, and our whole deal is based on the idea, hang on, let me attack with that, based on the idea of enchanting our lands, but we do need at least 3 lands to enchant stuff with. When I made this deck, it was a wonderful deck. It did nothing but win. That was a couple days ago. Now I pull it out on the mothballs, and I think I've lost 5 or 6 in a row with it. But it doesn't usually land starve me like this. And usually I only get land starve like this after I've won 5 or 6 in a row. Not when I've lost 5 or 6 in a row, and then it decides not to give me land. Alright, so we do get 1 land, and then we'll do Grafted Growth. Oh, and they just quit. Hello. You... Oh, man. Well, I guess I'll take the win. I do need wins. Let's go ahead and show you the entire deck. Show you my concept anyway. I thought it was a good concept the day I created it, but there may be some sort of algorithm that Magic the Arena Online does to make sure that they're nice to your new decks for 3 or 4 rounds. Okay, so you see I've got 24 lands, only 1 Besiege You. I didn't get fancy with the lands. I've got 2 Haywire Mites. When that dies, you gain 2 life and you can sacrifice them. This gets rid of pesky artifacts or enchantments as long as they're not also creatures. 4 Generous Visitors. When you cast an enchantment spell, put a +1/+1 counter on target creature. And so the rest of what I got is mostly enchantments and artifacts. Or, sorry, enchantments and creatures. Azusa's Many Journeys, just 1 copy. I really want to be able to play the additional land with the first chapter. I almost never do, even though like 85% of my opponents seem to make good on it. And so I'm not including more than 1 copy of that in the deck. 1 Bite Down for interaction, so that if I do get a fearsome opponent, I can maybe take out at least 1 creature. 2 Camis of Transience. When we lose an enchantment spell and it's put into the graveyard, we can return Cami of Transience from the graveyard to our hand. So if we lose Cami, there's a chance we could get it back. 2 Llanowar Loam Speakers that also give 1 mana of any color. The target land you control becomes a 3/3 elemental creature with haste. So we're looking to use this as part of our strategy to turn the lands into part of our army. And you can see we've got 3.5 average mana cost, 17 creatures. It's a little bit low on the creature side, but not if we can make lands into creatures. 1 Query on Beast Caller that you saw. Whenever you cast a creature spell, put a +1/+1 counter on the Beast Caller. When it dies, we get to distribute the counters. Next up is 4 copies of Roaring Earth with Landfall. We can put counters on things. 1 Broken Wings, mostly geared against flyers. 4 Grafted Growth to enchant the lands. When it comes into play, we can get extra mana off the lands, plus we get to add a counter to something. for Nature's Embrace. Here we're looking to actually use it on the lands if the opportunity presents, if we don't urgently need it on a creature. And that way there's a trick with Loam Speaker where you can turn the land into a creature, and the 3/3 elemental creature becomes a 5/5 because it has Nature's Embrace on it. In the meantime, we use it for the extra mana. One Besieger reaches skyward. I could have included 4 because I do have 4 copies, but I didn't want this to really be a Besieger deck, so to speak. I do want some ability to go get extra forests, so I chose 1 copy of it, but I didn't want to rely on it. This is kind of an overpowered card. By the time you get your tree branch out, it's at least a 6/6, and that's a 6/6 with reach is kind of tough for your opponent to deal with a lot of times. So just didn't want to sort of cheat in my mind with a new concept by having 4 copies of that. 1 copy of Harmonious Emergence enchants the land, turns into a 4/5 green spirit creature with vigilance and haste. If the enchanted land itself would be destroyed normally, like in combat or whatever, instead you just sacrifice the enchantment and the land gains indestructible. It just becomes a land. The cool thing is if you stick any counters on that land, the counters get to stay. Next, 3 copies of Glorious Sunshine with 4 different options. We could gain life, draw cards, whatever. 1 Silverback Elder. Whenever you cast a creature spell, we're usually looking to do the first one, destroy target artifact or enchantment. 1 Greater Tanuki, which we can discard the dog with Channel real quick to get us land if we need it, or it becomes a 6/5 Trampler. And 4 Woodcaller Automatons, which is why our mana cost is so high. The 3.5 is deceptive because we can just cast this for 4 for the prototype cost. But if we do get enough mana ramp, we could cast it for 10 and put 8 on there. And anyway, the cool thing is you can untap a target land and it becomes a treefolk creature with haste and base power and toughness equal to the automaton's power and toughness. So you'll have either a land turning into another 3/3 or an 8/8. And that's another way that we can turn our lands into attackers. That's the deck. It's a fairly simple concept. And we're going to go out and see. You saw 1 win? I'm telling you, I lost a lot before that. I was being left with the distinct impression that this is not a good deck that I've put together here. But we're going to show you how it works when we can get it to work. And hopefully past 4 or 5 turns so you can actually see some of it in action. Alright, we have some 1-drops. I've been including 1-drops. You better give them to me. Although only 3 copies of Glorious Sunrise, and we already got them up front. That's... I think that happened last match, didn't it? Ooh, a domain deck. Okay, I guess we are channeling. We're too small to go against the Root Walla. Or anything, it seems like. Three copies of Glorious Sunrise. Alright. Gain 3 life, I guess. No attacks. See if we can scale up with the Glorious Sunrises. They're also basically channeling. Although they didn't call it channeling. I wonder why. Here in Kamigawa they had the channel ability. Here they just say discard. But it's basically the same thing. Still not blocking the attackers. They're just getting more and more land. We'll try and save Besieger, I guess. To put out another Glorious Sunrise. And gain 3 life. And draw a card. No attacks. End the turn. We're over 20 life. If they don't come up with a way to take care of enchantments soon, we might do pretty good on card draw or outpace them on life gain. Although they're doing pretty good in terms of ramping for getting their land out that they need. We get land. Okay, so another glorious sunrise. 3 glorious sunrises. Next, let's just go ahead and we're going to get all the life we can right now. Just kind of getting a jump on the beating that is to come, because you know they're going to want to try and get all 5 lands out in attack. No mountain? Alright. We will channel that, get rid of the Weatherseed Treaty. Then I'll let them go get yet another land. So is this a mono green deck but using domain cards? Or are we going to be surprised with some... Ah, there's red. Okay, so this time, since we're at 30... let's go ahead and draw a card, draw a card, draw a card. No attackers. Grafted Growth. Bite down. Gets would run 1 creature. How many more to go? I only have 1 copy of Bite Down in the deck, so... Two Sunbathing Root Walls, and they are not attacking. Interesting. Okay. If you're not going to attack, let's see what else I can get out of this. Sweet. Alright, Beach Collar comes down. Embrace goes on a land. And we're putting all the counters on Beast Collar now. Because if that dies, they go somewhere else. Spread the love around with Nature's Embrace. And I guess we will end the turn. They're playing lands, but they're not playing any spells. What is in your deck, buddy? A draw card advantage. Okay. Doesn't match my 3-card draw. Ooh. Let's do it this way. No attacks. Woodcaller Automaton. Full cast for 10. 8/8. Then, let's see, if we enchant that, I don't think we want to enchant the 8/8. Let's enchant another forest. And we will target the Beast Collar, as we said. And then Nature's Embrace goes on the forest. Beast Collar. Where you at, Beast Collar? Ta-da! And now that guy's invulnerable, right? Or indestructible. Now, if they have a board wipe, I'm going to be in trouble at this point. He did me damage. How dare he? Okay, not just mono green. I don't think I like his draw card advantage. Alright, so let's see. No to attackers. We put down an enchantment. Put down a land. Sacrifice Haywire Might, get rid of that puppy. Put down Silverback Elder. And then put down Cammy. And gain 4 life. They're making maximum use of their domain cards, but it hasn't actually helped them yet. So I guess we're done. I mean, we could keep doing this. I've only gone through half the deck, so is he almost. Alright, creatures you control get +1/+1 and trample. Everybody attacks. And they surrender. Can't believe we won again. Kind of a long match. I think I have 4 of her now. Does that mean I have to make a deck? When I get a legendary creature and I have 4 copies of them, I tend to start thinking about making a deck just around them. Our opponent's name is Aviation Everything. Okay. Say hello to my generous visitor. Blue. Trickery. Trickery and shenanigans. Will we even last long enough to do anything? Blue and red. Very popular color combination right now. Nature's Embrace is going to go on the land. Alright, that's most of my most of my deck right there. Well, it's almost all of my hand anyway. Let's see what they got. Spell. Okay, so I want Glorious Sunrise. And I guess I've got 3 now, right? So we want to draw a card. And we want to attack with the power 3 while we can. They refill their hand. Discard a land. Okay. And they attack. We will let you attack. We have another Glorious Sunrise. Draw a card. Gain 3 life. Attack with everybody. You're going to need to go on the defensive unless you can get rid of my visitor. Burn down the house would help him out really nice right about now. Wandering Mind. Okay. They only have 3 instants in their graveyard. Ah, they found it in a braid. How nice for them. Really? Interesting. Yeah, sure. Next. +1 in trample, +1 in trample. Attack with 3 creatures. Yeah, you died. Don't know why he thought to attack. I think the Online Arena made up for everything pretty nicely just now. I'm telling you, I lost like 5 or 6 in a row before this. I was convinced this was just a terrible, miserable, no-good deck. But it is kind of fun to play, actually. It's why I didn't give up on it. It is fun to play. When you can get out all 3 Glorious Sunrises, and you can literally, I could get 9 life a turn, I could get 3 cards a turn, I could get 9 mana a turn, I could give everybody +3/+3 and trample a turn. It's really neat. So that seems to be, either I get them within the first 5 turns, just because they misplay or whatever, I get pump up my creatures pretty good. Or it turns into a long drawn out thing with Glorious Sunrises building up. Or they just kill me horribly. But every now and then I do manage to full cast the Woodcaller Automaton, as you saw, and get an 8/8 out. And that's always fun. And in the meantime, just putting out these Roaring Earths and Nature's Embrace and Grafted Growths gives me just enough mana sometimes that I can actually get some stuff done. The limits of the deck, faster decks can still take care of us. Sometimes I don't get any of the 1-drops early enough to make them worthwhile. They're not useful when they come in later sometimes. Bite Down, I only have 1 copy, so if you're missing interaction, then you can be in trouble. And since I only have 17 creatures, if I run up against a real heavy removal deck, that'll also take you out pretty fast. So there are some definite drawbacks to this. But I've played with cards that I don't normally play with a lot. I don't normally use Nature's Embrace, I don't normally use Grafted Growth, and I don't normally use Harmonious Emergence. So it was fun. Even Greater Tanuki, I usually don't use in my green decks. I do sometimes. And just getting used to using Haywire Might, which I kind of like. The Haywire Might, I think, is a pretty handy 1-drop. So that could become a pretty good clutch utility player. And of course, I only have 1 copy of Silverback Elder, but I love him. Love the Ape Shaman. In the meantime, we're going to leave it there. This has been Travis for Tpull's Corner. Thanks for joining me. I don't think I mentioned it yet, so I should mention it now. Like and subscribe if you haven't done so yet. Go ahead and do that, would you? And we'll catch you next time. Thanks. Have a good one.